first example 2.37. So the sum is, suppose an object is thrown with initial speed 10 meter per second. So initial speed is given. So immediately you must write the denoting letter. So what is initial speed? Initial speed, that is u, is given. Initial speed is represented by the letter u. U equal to 10 meter per second at an angle of pi by 4, that is theta is given. So immediately you must know to write the denoting letter. Okay. So read the question and you must write the denoting letter. Only then you can substitute. Okay. So what's given? Suppose an object is thrown with an initial speed u, which is 10 meter per second. So u is given and the angle of projection is given. So pi by 4, that is theta. Okay. And then what we have to calculate? What is the range covered? We must calculate range. So what is the range covered? Okay. Now the second question is again posed. So what's the second question? Suppose the same object is thrown similarly in the moon. First we are throwing the object on the earth. The same object is later thrown in moon. Then what will be the change in range? So we must calculate the range in earth and the range in moon. Okay. So that is the question. What is given? U is given, theta is given. So direct substitution, direct formula. Range formula we have already derived. Okay. So what is range formula? So we have derived already yesterday itself. Range R equal to U square sin 2 theta divided by G. Okay. So what is given here? Here range is given, range we must calculate. So what is given? U, initial speed is given. So what is U? U equal to 10 meter per second. It's given. Okay. Then theta equal to pi by 4. Theta is pi by 4. So what do you mean by pi here? Pi is nothing but 180 by 4. Yes. So this is equal to 45 degree. So if you divide 180 by 4, you will be getting 45 degree. So u is given, theta is given. So what is in the formula? We have got u and theta. G, acceleration due to gravity, that is also given as 10 meter per second. Okay. So we can take it as 10 meter per second. 9.8 is approximately equal to 10. We can take it as 10 meter per second. Yes, now substitute. So what is range? Range R equal to u square sin 2 theta by G. This is the formula. Yes. So u square sin 2 theta divided by G. Okay. Now what is u? U is given as 10. So 10 square sin 2 into theta. Theta is 45 degree. Okay. So 2 into 45 degree divided by 10. G is 10. 110 may be cancelled. So you will be getting 10 sin 2 into 45 is 90 degree. Okay. So we know sin 90 as 1. Therefore 10 into sin 90 as 1, substitute 1 equal to 10. Okay. So very simple sum. So range. So what is range? Range is a horizontal distance. Therefore unit of range is meter. That's all. Very simple sum, is it? So if you remember the formula, that is enough. So range is u square sin 2 theta divided by G. Okay. So now u is given, theta is given. So direct substitution, G is taken as 10. Okay. So you are getting the answer as 10 meter. That's all. So range, this is range on earth. So when we throw the object on the earth, we are getting 10 meter. Okay. Now, so the same object is now thrown in moon. Second case. What is the second case? So second case is, if we throw the same object in moon, what happens? Okay. In the question itself, last sentence is given. Okay. So gravity on moon is 1/6 of gravity on earth. So in moon, when we go to moon, we will float. Okay. So we can land ourselves on earth. But when we go to moon, what happens? We will float, because gravitational force on moon is very, very less compared to earth. Okay. How much it is less? It is 1/6 of earth. Okay. So gravity on moon, G moon equal to gravity on earth by 6. Okay. 1/6 of earth. Yes, clear? So gravity on moon is 1/6 of earth. So gravitational force on earth by 6. Yes, clear? Okay. Now what is range? Now we have to calculate range in moon. So what's the formula for range? Range is equal to u square sin 2 theta divided by G. Instead of G, we must substitute G moon. because we are doing the problem on moon. We are discussing the problem on moon. Okay, so G on moon. Okay, so U square sine 2 theta divided by G moon. So instead of now, so range on moon. So range on moon is equal to U square sine 2 theta divided by G moon. Okay, so what is gravity on moon? So gravity on moon is 1/6 of gravity on earth. So this can be written as G earth by 6. So gravity on moon, what is gravity on moon? G earth by 6. So I am substituting G moon as G earth by 6. Now this 6 can be taken to the numerator. So 6 U square sine 2 theta divided by G earth. Okay. Now this value already we have calculated. This already we have calculated. This is on earth. U square sine 2 theta by G. Already we have calculated. What is calculated in the last case? We have calculated as 10. So 6 into 10 equal to 60 meter. That's all. So what is the value? So range on moon equal to 60 meter. That is 6 times that on earth. Range on moon is 6 times that on earth. Yes, clear? Okay. That's all about this problem. Hope you should understood. Yes. Now we have got one more problem. That is problem number 2.38. Okay. See the question. In a cricket game, a batsman strikes the ball. Okay. So that the speed is 30 meter per second. So speed is given. Okay. What is speed? Speed is 30 meter per second. So speed is given 30 meter per second. So we can take it as U. Speed is U. Okay. And then angle theta is given 30 degree. At what angle he is striking the ball? So at an angle of 30 degree he is striking the ball. Okay. Now, so the boundary, the distance of the boundary is given. So what is the distance of the boundary? It is 75 meter. Distance of the boundary is 75 meter given. Okay. Yes, clear? From the batsman. So boundary, so if he strikes the ball, if it covers the 75 meter, then it is equivalent to 4. Okay. So distance of the boundary is given 75 meter. Okay. Then acceleration due to gravity is given. Yes. Okay. What is the question here? So U is given, initial velocity, angle of projection theta is given, and then boundary distance is given 75 meter, and acceleration due to gravity is given. So the question is, so if the that is a batsman strikes the ball with 30 meter per second at an angle of 30 degree, will the ball reach 6? That is the question. Okay. So if he strikes the ball with an angular speed, that is angle of projection 30 degree and speed 30 meter per second, then whether the ball reaches 6 or not, that is the question. Okay. So for that what we have to calculate? Again, calculate range. We must calculate range. So if the range value is greater than 75 meter, if the range we are going to calculate is greater than 75 meter, then what will happen? The ball will reach the 6. Ball the crosses 6. Okay. Yes, clear? So what we have to calculate? We have to calculate range and check the range value is greater than 75 or not. That's all. Yes, clear? Now listen. So what's the formula for range? So range is equal to U square sine 2 theta divided by G. Formula for range is U square sine 2 theta divided by G. Okay. Now what is range? How to calculate? See, now initial speed U equal to 30 meter per second. Angle of projection theta equal to 30 degree. Okay. Then what is the formula for range? Range is equal to U square sine 2 theta by G. So what is U? 30. So 30 square yes, see 30 square sine 2 theta. Sine, okay. So what is sine 2 theta here? So theta is 30. Theta equal to 30 degree. Therefore 2 theta, what is 2 theta? 2 theta equal to 60 degree. So 2 into 30 degree, 60 degree. Okay. So theta is given, 2 theta calculated. Yes, shall we substitute now? So what is the formula for range? Range is equal to U square. U is 30, so 30 square Sine 2 theta is 60 degree by 10. Acceleration due to gravity is 10. Okay, so 30 square is 90 into sine 60 value. Sine 60 is root 3 by 2. What's the value of sine 60? Sine 60 is root 3 by 2. So we have substituted sine 60 as root 3 by 2. So 900 into root 3 by 2 divided by 10. Okay, so if you simplify, you are getting 77.94. Okay, so you are getting 77.94. This distance 77.94 is greater than 75 given. So the given value was 75. That is the distance of the boundary line from the batsman is 75 meter, it's given. Okay, so since this distance, that is range, is greater than 75. So this is greater than 75 meter. Okay, therefore the ball, okay, struck by the bat definitely will reach 6. Yes, clear? So the range calculated is greater than, okay, so the boundary line, okay, distance of the boundary line, definitely the ball struck by the cricket bat will reach 6. Therefore the ball will reach 6 here. Yes, clear? Okay. Now, next topic. So we are going to discuss now about degrees and radians. Okay. So in calculus, and while we are dealing with mathematical chapters like calculus and trigonometry, we are mainly using the radian measures. Okay. So whenever we deal with calculus and trigonometry, okay. So what do you mean by trigonometry? It's used for, it's a mathematical chapter which is mainly used for measuring the elevation and depression. So what do you mean by elevation and what do you mean by depression? So elevation means, so suppose if you want to measure the height of the tower or height of the building or height of the tree, okay, so we will look up, okay, so from the, our line of sight will be up. Okay, what do you mean by line of sight? Line of sight is nothing but line joining the object and the eye. That line is called a line of sight. Okay, so the line of sight will be up. Yes, so when we look from the ground, okay, so the tall building or trees or any tower, so our line of sight will be up. So that angle is called angle of elevation. So we call that angle as angle of elevation. Let us consider this is a tower. Okay, so we are looking at the tower. So let us consider this is a tower. So we are here, we are standing here. So we are looking at the top of the tower now. This is the top of the tower. So from the ground. So this is ground. We are standing here and we are observing the top of the tower from the point. So this angle theta is called angle of elevation. We call this angle is called angle of elevation. Okay. So whenever we measure the angle of elevation or whenever we measure the angle of depression. What do you mean by depression? Suppose you are standing in the balcony of a house. So this is a house. Okay. So this is balcony. Okay. So if you are standing in the balcony of a house, okay, and you are looking at any object on the earth. Okay. So here is an object on the earth. Okay. So you are looking at the object on the earth from balcony. So you are standing in balcony. So you are looking at the object. Okay, from top you are looking at the bottom. So this angle is called angle of depression. So we call this angle as angle of depression. Okay, so when we want to measure angle of elevation or angle of depression, okay, so we are using the unit called degrees. Okay, so we are mainly using the unit called degrees, and also we are using gradient and radian. Okay, so there are many angles. Okay, so for measuring the angles, we have got many units. Okay, so in practice, so what are the units we have in practice? We have got revolutions. Revolution is an unit. We have got revolution. Revolution is an unit. Okay. Degree is an unit. Degree is a unit. And radian is a unit. Okay. These are all are the units used for measuring the angles. Okay, so revolution, degrees and radians. Yes, even gradient. Even gradient. These are all units used for measuring angles. Okay, now, so what is degree? Degree is right angle is 90 degree. A right angle is 90 degree. What is degree? Right angle. What do you mean by right angle? This is right angle. So what is right angle? Right angle is 90 degree. So degree, a right angle is 90 degree. Gradient. What do you mean by gradient? A right angle is 100 grades. Okay, so what is right angle? Right angle is nothing but we can say 100 grades. Okay, so the commonly used units for measuring the angle are revolution, degree, radian and gradient. Okay, but so often we use only degrees and radians. So though we have many units for measuring the angle, revolution, degree, radian and gradient, we most commonly used units for measuring angles are degrees and radians. Okay, so these are the most commonly used units. Yes, clear? Now, so in order to deal the trigonometry and calculus, differential calculus or integral calculus, it may be differential calculus or integral calculus and trigonometry. Okay, so we generally use the units called degrees and radians. Okay, so what do you mean by trigonometry? The trigonometry can be divided into three parts. One is trigonometry. Okay, trigonometry can be divided into three parts. Trigonometry. So what do you mean by the word tri? Tri means three. Gono means sides. Metry means measurement. Okay, trigonometry means mainly measuring the sides and angles. Okay, so trigonometry is a branch of mathematics which is used for measuring sides and angles. So in those angles, for measuring those angles, we are using the units called radians, degrees, revolutions and gradients. Okay, so the units used for measuring the angles are radians, degrees, revolutions and gradients. So out of four, we commonly use units such as, okay, radians and degrees. Yes, clear? Yes, now degrees and radians. Okay, so in measuring angles, there are several possible units. So what are the several possible units we discussed already now? Okay, so degrees, radians, revolutions or rotations per second, rotation per second, revolution per second. It's a unit for angular measurement. Okay, so radians, gradients, okay, then degrees. Okay, or revolution or rotation per second. These are all the different units used for measuring angles. Out of those two, we use degrees and radians most commonly. Okay, so radians are generally used for measuring area, volume, okay, circumference of the circle and surface area of the sphere. So what for we are using radian? Radian is an unit used for measuring area, volume, circumference of the circle and surface area of the sphere. Okay. So these are the places where we use, okay, radians. Okay, now see, listen. So here, what do you mean by radian? How to define radian? So radian is nothing but angle described by the arc of a circle at the center of the circle. Okay, radian is nothing but angle described by the arc of the circle but at the center of the circle, that is called radian. So how can we define a radian? This is 1 radian. Okay, this is nothing but 1 radian. So this is 1 radian. Okay, so what is 1 radian? 1 radian is defined as, okay, so when the radius of the circle is equal to this arc. Okay, so this arc and radius of the circle are equal. If the arc length is equal to the radius of the circle, then we say the angle subtended at the center as 1 radian. Okay, so what is 1 radian? 1 radian is, okay, angle made by arc. So this part is called arc. We call this part as arc. Okay, so 1 radian is the angle subtended by the arc. Where? At the center of the circle. When the radius equal to arc length. Okay, when the radius, so this is radius r, this is also radius r, then the arc length must also be equal to r. if this condition is satisfied. Okay, so when the radius and arc length is equal, then this angle we call it as 1 radian. Yes, clear? So what is radian? How will you define radian? Radian is the ratio of length divided by radius of the arc. So how can we define radian? Radian equal to length by arc. Okay, length by radius. Okay, so this is called radian. Okay, so radian is defined as length by radius. So length is nothing but arc length here, arc length by radius. Okay, so when this ratio will be equal to 1 radian, when this length by radius will be equal to 1. Okay, when this is 1, when L and R are equal, correct? So when L equal to R, this will get cancelled and we will get 1 as the answer. So when radian will be 1, okay, so 1 radian definition is nothing but when length of the arc and radius are equal. Okay, so if this arc length and radius are equal, then we call it as 1 radian. Yes, clear? Okay, now see here, so 1 radian, so this is 1 radian, see it is changing 4 radian, 5 radian and then 6 radian. Yes, so this is angle is changing here 6 radians. This is 1 radian, 2 radian, 3 radian. See, check, this is 5 radian and then we have got 6 radians. Yes, value is changing. Yes, clear? Okay. Now, so hope you all understood what is radian. Now, so what is degree? Radian all understood. Okay, now degree. Degree is the unit of measurement which is used to measure the size of the angle. Degree is what? It is used to measure size. So if the angle is 30 degree, if the angle is 45 degree, we say this angle is 30 degree. We say the angle is 30 degree. Okay. We say the angle is 45 degree. And we say the angle is 90 degree. Okay. So this is called size. 30 degree, 45 degree, 90 degree. This is called size. So this size of the angle, that is magnitude of the angle, 30 degree, 45 degree and 60 degree or 90 degree. So this angle, this size is measured by the unit called degree. So degree is the unit of measurement which is used to determine the size of the angle. Yes, clear? Now, so when we go around, when we go around a circle, one circular path. Okay, now, so if we go around a circular path, say for example, we are going around a circular path, or when a particle moves in a circular path. So here is the particle first. Okay, this is the center of the circle, this is the radius of the circle. Now the particle is moving. So it is moving around the circular path. Okay, the path in front of this center, this is the path in front of the center, makes an angle or subtends an angle of 360 degree at the center. So it is making an angle of 360 degree at the center. So the path in front of the center makes an angle of 360 degree, subtends an angle of 360 degree at the center. Okay, now, so this 360 degree is angle subtended at the center when a particle completes one revolution. Okay, so when a particle moves in a circular path and completes one revolution, so angle will be 360 degree. This 360 degree will be equal to 2 pi radian. Okay, so 360 degree equal to 2 pi radian. So converting 360 degree in radian, this 360 degree equal to 2 pi radian. So what is 1 radian now? So 1 radian equal to 360 by 2 pi. So this is equal to 180 by pi. So what is 1 radian value? 1 radian equal to 180 by pi. Okay, 180 degree by pi. Yes, clear? So this is a relation between radian and degree. Yes? Yes, listen. Now 360 degree equal to 2 pi radians. Okay, what is 1 radian? So bring 2 pi here or divide both the sides by 2 pi. So you are dividing both the sides by 2 pi. So I am dividing both the sides by 2 pi. So if you divide both the sides by 2 pi, here 2 pi will get cancelled. So you will be getting 1 radian. So what is 1 radian? 360 by 2 pi. This 2 and 360 gets cancelled. So 180. So 180 by pi degrees. So what is 1 radian value? 1 radian equal to 180 by pi degrees. So if you divide 180 by pi, you are getting 57.295 degree. So what's the value of 1 radian? 1 radian equal to 57.295 degree. So this is the conversion of degree into radian. Okay, and radian into degree. Yes, clear? So 360 degree equal to 2 pi radian. From this, we are calculating 1 radian. Yes, clear? Now, so we have got next problem. Example 2.39. Calculate the angle theta subtended by 2 adjacent wooden spokes of a bullock cart. Okay, bullock cart wheel. Okay, is shown in the figure. So express the angle in both radian and degree. Okay, so what is the question? So calculate the angle theta. Okay, so we have to calculate angle theta subtended by the 2 adjacent wooden spokes of a bullock cart. Okay, at the center of the circle. So we must express the answer both in degree and radian. Okay. Now listen here. So this is the bullock cart. So the red color is given. So the spokes clearly given, red color line. Okay. So now, so the spokes. So this spokes, this is a spoke. See, this is the spoke, 2 spokes. Totally count the number of spokes. So total number of spokes are 12. 12 parts are there. Count. So if you count the spokes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 spokes are there. So 12 parts are there. Okay. So angle, when a particle moves in a circular path, angle subtended by the particle at the center of the circle is 360 degree. You all know. When a particle moves round the, let us consider particle is here now. So when the particle moves round the circular path, and when it completes one revolution, one complete motion, then angle subtended at the center equal to 360 degrees. Just now I told. Okay, so total angle theta equal to 360 degree at the center. Yes, clear? Now, how many parts are there? 12 parts are there. Okay, so now what is the angle of one part? So angle of one part is, okay, 360 by 12. So what is the angle for one part? So for one part, the angle is, okay, 360 divided by 12. Okay, equal to what is 360 by 12? 30 degree. So angle made by one part at the center equal to 30 degree. That's all. Very simple. So total angle made at the center of the circle by a particle moving in the circular path or when the wheel completes one revolution is 360 degree. So total angle is 360 degree. Therefore for one part, okay, how much angle? So how many parts are there? 12 parts are there. So for 12 parts, angle is 360 degree. Then for one part, what is the angle? So 360 by 12 equal to 30 degree. So angle made by one part of that is 2 adjacent spokes at the center of the circle or wheel is 30 degree. Now we have calculated in degree. We have to convert it in radian. Okay, so how to convert this in radian? So 360 now, theta is equal to, we are writing 360 degree as 2 pi radian, we know already. Okay, so angle theta equal to 360 degree by how many parts are there? 12 parts. So if you want the answer in degree, you should use 360 degree by 12. If you want the answer in radian, you should write 360 degree as 2 pi radian. What is 360 degree? It is equivalent to 2 pi radian. So 2 pi radian divided by 12. So 2 and 12 are cancelled, 6. So pi by 6 radian. Yes, clear? Very simple sum. Okay, pi by 6 radian. So what is the angle made by 2 adjacent spokes? Pi by 6 radian. Yes, so if you want to express in radian, we are writing 360 degree as 2 pi. Okay, if we want to express in degree, we are taking 360 degree as such, because so when a particle completes one revolution, the angle is 360 degree. Clear? Okay, that's all about this sum. Okay, so next topic we have got is angular displacement. Okay. So what is the angular displacement? Now we are considering a particle which is moving in a circular path of radius r. Okay, so let us consider a particle revolving around the point in a circle of radius r. Okay, now so at any position of at any time, that is at time t is equal to 0 initially when time t is 0, then the particle is at A. After a time t, the position of the particle is changed. Yes, listen. So let us consider this is the circular path. We are considering this is the circular path. Yes. So the particle is initially at a position A when time t equal to 0. When time is 0 second, the particle is at A. Then after some time, that is after a time t, the particle reaches the position B. Okay. So consider a particle revolving around a point O. This is a point O. So around this point O, the particle is revolving. When time t is equal to 0, the particle is at A. When time is t, the particle is at B. Yes. Now the position of the particle is changed. Okay. Now the displacement is changed. So what is the angular displacement? So linear displacement is different, angular displacement is different. So what is angular displacement? So during this journey, what is the angle subtended by the particle at the center of the circle? That is called angular displacement. So during this journey, so when a particle is moving in a circular path, so during its motion or journey, what is the angle subtended by the particle at the center of the circle? That is called angular displacement. Yes, yes. See this picture. Now the particle is moving and striking the different positions at certain angle. See, clearly you can see. So the moving here and striking here at an angle. See, the arrow mark is moving like this and striking here at certain angle. Okay, and again, so it is striking here at certain angle. So it makes an angle. Okay, so when a particle is moving and making an angle during its motion, it makes an angle, then it is called angular displacement. Okay, so when a particle is moving in a circular path and during its motion, so what is the angle made by the particle at the center of the circle? That angle is called angular displacement. Okay, so how can we define angular displacement now? Angle described by the particle about an axis. Okay, about an axis of rotation. Okay, angle described by the particle about an axis of rotation or about a point O or about the center O. So this point O. Okay, angle described by the particle about an axis of rotation. So this is the axis of rotation. So this is called axis of rotation. So angle described by the particle at the center about an axis of rotation or about a point O is called angular displacement. Yes. So how can we represent angular displacement? So angular displacement can be represented as angle AOB or BOA, anyhow we can write. Angle AOB equal to theta. So how will you represent angular displacement? Angular displacement is angle AOB equal to theta. Yes, clear? Now, so we have a relation between this arc length. So this is called arc length. So AB is called arc length. Okay. So what is AB? AB is called arc length. And OA is called radius. And theta is called angular displacement. Okay. So there is a relation connecting all these three. AB arc length, OA radius and theta angular displacement. So there is a relation connecting these three. So how to derive the relation? Okay, we have a formula in max. Arc length equal to arc length equal to theta by 360 into 2 pi r. So this is the formula we commonly learn in max. So arc length equal to theta by 360 into 2 pi r. Now this is 360 degree. I am writing 360 degree as 2 pi. We can write 360 degree as 2 pi radian. So because 360 degree is 2 pi radian. So radian is generally represented by half, that is semicircle. So this C letter. So this is called 2 pi radian. We can call this as 2 pi radian, 2 pi C. Okay, so 2 pi radian into 2 pi r. Yes, clear? This 2 pi and 2 pi gets cancelled. So we get arc length equal to. So what is arc length? So arc length equal to theta into r. So we get arc length formula as theta into r. What is arc length here? AB is arc length. So what is AB? AB equal to theta into r. So here arc length AB equal to theta into r. Yes, clear? So what is arc length we have calculated? Arc length equal to AB, which is equal to theta into r. Yes, clear? Okay, now, so what's the formula we have derived? Arc length. So arc length is here displacement. This AB is taken as S here. So S is equal to R into theta. That is what we have derived here. So theta into R, nothing but R into theta. Clear? Yes. So this is how we get the formula, arc length formula. Okay. So arc length is equal to theta into R. Yes, clear? Now we have, so angular velocity. Okay. So angular velocity is nothing but rate of change of angular displacement. So what is angular velocity? How will you define angular velocity? Angular velocity is defined as rate of change of angular displacement. No difference at all. How you define linear velocity? Linear velocity is rate of change of displacement. That's all. Okay. So you put a word, additional word, angular. That's all. Rate of change of angular displacement is called angular velocity. So if theta is the angular displacement in time t, then angular velocity omega is called. Okay. So how can we define angular velocity? Okay. So angular velocity omega is the limit the quantity delta theta by delta t attains when delta t becomes 0 is called angular velocity. The limit, okay, the limit the quantity delta theta, the limit the quantity delta theta by delta t attains when delta t approaches 0 is called, okay, angular velocity omega, which is nothing but d theta by dt. Already you know this. Okay, so already we have defined our acceleration, we have defined for velocity, okay, everything we have defined. So how to define this term? So angular velocity is defined as limit, okay, limit the quantity delta theta by delta t attains when delta t approaches 0 is called angular velocity, which is d theta by dt. Already I told it is very inconvenient to use this term limit delta t tends to 0, delta theta by delta t for angular velocity. Angular velocity can be written in any way. What is angular velocity formula? Omega equal to limit delta t tends to 0, delta theta by delta t. This is the formula. But every time it is very inconvenient to express limit delta t tends to 0, delta theta by delta t. So in order to avoid confusion, so we are simply writing this limit delta t tends to 0, delta theta by delta t as d theta by dt. So for convenience sake, we are writing this as d theta by dt. So what is angular velocity? Angular velocity is defined as rate of change of angular displacement. Okay, so if theta is the angular displacement in time t, then angular velocity can be written as omega equal to limit delta t tends to 0, delta theta by delta t equal to d theta by dt. So how can we define angular velocity? Again, limit the quantity delta theta by delta t attains when delta t approaches 0 is called angular velocity, which is simply written as d theta by dt. Clear? So, this is called angular velocity. Now, so what is angular velocity? See, so angular velocity is the velocity with which the particle moves in a circular path. Okay, so the velocity with which the particle is moving in a circular path. So what is the angular velocity? Angular velocity is velocity with which the particle moves in a circular path is called angular velocity. Yes, clear? Yes, now, so the unit of angular velocity. So what is angular velocity? Angular velocity omega equal to d theta by dt. Angular velocity omega equal to d theta by dt. So what is angular velocity? Omega equal to d theta by dt. D theta is angle. Okay, unit of angle is radian. So what is the unit of theta? Radian. Okay, by time is second. Unit of time is second. So the unit of angular velocity is radian per second. So what's the unit of angular velocity? Angular velocity unit is radian per second. This can be written as radian second inverse. Okay. Now what is the dimensional formula? Dimensional formula for angular velocity is dimension formula equal to d theta. D theta, theta angle has no dimension. You all know very well. Okay, pi, angle, numbers like 1, 2, 3, etc. E, these are all the quantities having no dimension. So angle has no dimension. Okay, so numerator we have got 1 and denominator time. Dimensional formula for time is capital T. So this is equal to t power minus 1. So within square bracket. We used to write the dimension formula in square bracket. Therefore, okay, dimensional formula for angular velocity is t power minus 1. Clear? Okay, what is angular velocity? Rate of change of angular displacement is called angular velocity. Formula for angular velocity is d theta by dt. Okay, unit of angular velocity is radian per second and dimensional formula for angular velocity is t power minus 1. Yes, clear? Now, so angular velocity is a vector quantity. Okay, so what is the direction of the angular velocity? Definitely angular velocity must have a direction. Angular velocity is a vector quantity, therefore it has got direction. How to calculate the direction? If the particle moves in anti-clockwise direction in a circular path. If a particle moves in anti-clockwise direction in a circular path, okay, the angular velocity direction will be upward and along the axis of rotation. Okay, angular velocity will be along the axis of rotation. Okay, and upward. Okay, so this is the radius and this is the axis of rotation. Okay, angular velocity direction will be upward if the particle moves in the anti-clockwise direction. If it moves like this, if the particle moves in anti-clockwise direction, angular velocity will be, okay, along the axis of rotation and upward. Then, if the particle moves in the clockwise direction, okay, if the particle moves in clockwise direction, this is angular velocity, this is radius, this is center. So, if it moves in clockwise direction, then angular velocity will be in downward direction. Yes, clear? So, if the particle moves in clockwise direction, downward. If the particle moves in anti-clockwise direction, it is upward along the axis of rotation. Clear? So, since the angular velocity is a vector quantity, it has got direction. So, the direction is along axis of rotation, either upward or downward, depending upon the direction in which the particle moves. That is either clockwise or anti-clockwise. Yes, clear? Yes. Hope all would have understood the topic start today, okay, in this session. Okay, so let me sign off this session. Okay, yes, thank you students.